Most of us never think about where water comes from. We turn on the tap and water comes out. We can't even imagine what it would be like if there wasn't enough. Water is a finite resource in Colorado, and we have come to rely on our local governments to bring the water we need right to our homes for an affordable price. Providing water to Colorado's Front Range cities, where the majority of the state's population resides, has been a challenge for all of our history. Ironically, most of the state's water is in the mountains or on the west slope, and most of that water actually belongs to downstream states. Engineering professor Neil Grigg from Colorado State University gives us some history about how Colorado's water became so precious.
When the first settlers of Colorado arrived here, they didn't think that there was enough water for all of the water demand that we would have all along the Front Range. And they created a system where the first person to put the water to beneficial use had a property right in the use of that water for the future. So that led to the system that we call today first in time, first in right. A lot of people believe deeply in that system as being a sort of, you might say, a bastion of free enterprise, a way where you can use property rights to manage water well, and in general just a good way to manage water.
Growing Front Range towns like Castle Rock face challenges for providing water to current and future residents. Pumping water from non-renewable aquifers has proven to be a temporary solution, and relying upon seasonal supplies means that in dry years, Castle Rock would not get the water its residents need. Castle Rock's town council is reviewing proposals from a few water providers, each with a different approach to meeting the needs of today and ensuring them for tomorrow. One proposal would have Castle Rock lease the infrastructure and the water with no guarantee that costs would not increase or that water would not be shut off entirely in dry years. This proposal would also require that their treated water would be stored in Reuter Hess Reservoir, which is not permitted for that use, and would require that a new treatment plant be built to retreat the water. Other proposals would pump water from designated groundwater basins. The proposal from United Water would see that Castle Rock would own, not lease, its supply and infrastructure, and that the town would have a constant flow, even in dry years. To help us explain where the water comes from, here's United's Josh Shipman.
United buys water from the South Platte and South Platte tributaries. I think Ron Von Lemke can be more specific.
United has a policy of ensuring that we do not buy water from one ditch system or from a minimal number of ditch systems. We do our best to buy water from a broad expanse of ditch systems in order to provide our customers a broad portfolio of water rights.
It's not something that we always think about, but what would you do if your community couldn't provide you with the water that you needed?
This is a generational decision for the citizens of Castle Rock and for the elected officials of Castle Rock. The decision they will be making within the next 12 months will affect the lives of the citizens, their children, and their grandchildren for generations to come. United purchases water off of the Platte River to include the Cache-la-Poudre and the St. Vrain. The water is purchased from the farms and then shared with the farms, and then through a series of exchanges, the water is then sent to the United well field, which is near Brighton, Colorado. From the United well field, it is then pumped out of the well field and then transported into the ECCV water treatment plant. It is there treated and then sent down a 36-mile pipeline to the ECCV tank farm, which is located at E470 and Smoky Hill Road. From the tank farm at ECCV, it is then transported to E470 in Chambers, and then a new pipeline will be constructed from E470 in Chambers and delivered directly to the Castle Rock water system.
When United buys farms, we try and lease the land back to the farmer so the land can remain productive. Let's let United Water's president, Bob Lemke, tell us more about that.
Because of the structure of Colorado water law, most of the senior reliable water rights are located on the lower South Platte from Greeley towards Fort Morgan. It's United's strategy to acquire these senior water rights, in all or in part from the farmers wishing to sell them, for use for municipal users who need an annual reliable source of water. We then seek to re-irrigate the farms using more junior rights so that agricultural production can be maintained in the areas from which the original water was obtained. Through this mechanism, we can have both a reliable municipal supply and maintain agricultural economic vitality.
So given that the water is already stressed, the question is there going to be enough water for all this growth along the Front Range? Another tendency is to shift the water from agriculture back into urban uses to try to have, in many cases, cooperative ventures so that we can keep farmland in production at the same time that the cities grow. There are going to be a lot of other innovations such as trading water, storing water better, putting water into aquifers temporarily, and pumping it out later, using groundwater better. We're looking at all kinds of innovations. It's going to be very difficult to import water from the Western Slope or from any other source for the future. So Colorado, for the most part, is going to have to look to its own resources for its future water supplies.
Municipalities have an obligation and a responsibility in representing their citizenry that they meet the delivery requirements of a normal single-family household.
United would recommend Castle Rock purchase peak capacity water to minimize storage requirements, to minimize waste, and to assure its customers water would be available when they need it.
The direct delivery of water via a pipeline that's already treated into an existing system, an existing city potable system, would have very few losses compared to a water supply that is delivered to open storage where seepage and evaporative losses occur, and then also require retreatment. Retreatment of the water also creates some additional losses.
It's always best to own water rights rather than lease them. Now, the reason for that is simple. As soon as you purchase a water right, it is yours and it remains yours forever. Under the Colorado Constitution, the purchase of a water right is a property right. Once you own it, just like you own the house that you live in, it's yours forever until you decide to sell it or otherwise dispose of it. If you lease water, however, you are subject to the whims of your landlord, just as if you were the subject of the whims of your landlord if you leased your house. On an annual basis, the cost of that water that you lease can go up. By the same token, the reliability of that water is also in jeopardy.
Castle Rock has requested proposals for 6,000 acre-feet of water, or enough for approximately 24,000 homes. Should United be awarded the contract, it would contemplate purchasing the water within the first 2 years of the contract, with the entire volume of water available for delivery in approximately 2016.
Castle Rock can afford the portfolio of water rights it's seeking to acquire by utilizing a combination of its existing cash deposits and future user fees. A reliable, predictable, and affordable water rights portfolio is essential for long-term economic growth. Castle Rock is competing with Denver, Aurora, and other Front Range communities in attracting and maintaining those primary job creators that provide for a stable economy. A properly oriented water right portfolio can provide for the future of Castle Rock.
The reliable availability of water to any community can literally assure a vibrant economic base, bringing jobs and building careers, making a community which is well prepared for future growth and the prosperity of its citizens.